All right, to start, shout out to the entire NFL for allowing us to sign Derrick Henry for a measly $8 million a year. It is truly amazing sometimes to see how dumb and inept sports front offices are. Even if a team couldn't use Derrick Henry in their scheme, allowing the Ravens to add him with Lamar and our proven running attack over the past 20 years for $8 million. Someone should have just signed him so that he couldn't come here. Dallas. Second of all, thoughts and prayers to Chris Godwin. Looks like his season is probably over in garbage time, and I really hate to see that. There was someone yelling hip drop when the play happened. It wasn't a hip drop tackle. Roquan just, his weight ended up on Chris's ankle. It's football. It happens. It sucks. I mean, we had our season derailed a little bit last year with the Mark Andrews hip drop. Lamar was almost taken out last week with a hip drop tackle that wasn't even called, and no one talked about that afterwards. So, to Tampa fans, losing Evans and Godwin in the same game, even if Evans is just a hamstring, especially for down the field threat wide receivers, that hamstring injury does not go away the rest of the season. So, I know you guys are hoping to win the division again, and I just hate to see that you guys had that many offensive injuries pile up in this one. So my condolences. It sucks, but football's football, and it happens. And as a fan, you just kind of got to roll on and try to look forward to some younger guys and some blasts from the past like Sterling Shepard getting some more looks. On the Ravens side, I'll finish my Tampa thoughts first. I'll be honest, I didn't watch much Bucs football last year in the post-Tom Brady era, but it was good to see some guys from those teams who I actually enjoyed watching still in the mix. Repping Tampa. Again, 3 straight division titles, nothing to sneeze at. It was good to see guys like Rashad White. I was really impressed by the 3-tier, 3-prong rushing attack, which before the game got out of hand, I mean, you guys were getting bulk carries in a way that no one's really done against the Ravens this year. Sean Tucker, Bucky Irving, I'll be honest, not that familiar with these guys, but I before the game got out of hand, I thought the rushing attack looked pretty solid. And then obviously once Mike Evans went out, the Bucs offense pretty much went out. Of course, until the Ravens defense decided that it was the fourth quarter, and now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can score at will because that's what we do against every team. But especially with how the game ended with Tampa Bay injuries, I'm not going to complain about giving up all the points in the fourth quarter today. This was a dominating performance today for the Baltimore Ravens, and I was just happy that for the most part we got out of there without anyone getting hurt. Obviously, Marlon picked up that knee injury. I didn't really see much on that. I feel like holding him out was probably more precautionary than anything else. If he misses 1 week, I'd understand, but I feel like he'd probably be back in 2 weeks at the least, at the most, or at the least. Whatever. It is 11:30 p.m. here in Maryland. By the way, last week's video recorded the day after because I couldn't watch the game live. Total dog, total miss, like a dog. So I guess recording the day after is out. It's got to be immediately after. Hey, I understand. I hype up having that immediate raw reaction. And what's a Monday Night Football raw reaction if it's not immediately after the game? So, hey, I understand. The people spoke. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. So this one started 10-0 immediately. Should have been 14-0. There were 2 absolute phantom offensive holding calls on the offensive line in this game, one for each team. The first one was Tampa should have went up 14-0. Holding penalty simply did not exist. They ended up having to settle for a field goal, so it was 10-0. And then the Ravens on the Lamar Jackson run, equally bad, if not worse, phantom call. Simply did not exist, folks. These calls were just completely made up. we scored a touchdown on the next play, so it ended up not mattering points-wise like it did for Tampa. So yeah, wasn't wearing the Lucky Ghost necklace. 10-0. I was like, started yelling, "Where's the necklace? Give me the necklace." Put it on. Next thing I know, 34-10. So don't worry, Ravens fans. I will be making sure this thing is ready to go for any other precarious situations we have the rest of this season. I don't want to, burn the magic too much. I was trying to see what would happen tonight if I didn't wear it. I had to put it on pretty much immediately. So we now know where that stands. And when we play the Steelers, I'm going to wear this thing all week. I'm going to sleep in it. But yeah, like I said, dominating performance offensively. I really love Rashad Bateman finally getting his due. Look, for a couple of years now, I know earlier in his career he had a lot of injuries. But for a couple of years now, a lot of local reports following the team were, hey, look, Rashad, in practice, he looks good. In games, he's open. Lamar just doesn't look his way. And the theory was, Rashad's a precision route runner. That's what he was at Minnesota. That's what he was drafted to be. And Lamar doesn't necessarily look for guys to, run a clean route and hit them on the break. He's more of a run and gun. Guys get open while he's on the move type of player. But there is no doubt they have been connecting a lot in the last couple of weeks, and that is great to see because once that gets opened up, folks, you already see it. Mark Andrews is back in the mix. He is wide open in the middle of the field on numerous occasions tonight. 2 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns for Lamar on 17 completions. I did go to school in the Baltimore area, so I'm going to have to pull out the calculator real quick to figure out what percentage of Lamar's completions were touchdowns tonight. 29%. Hey, at least I was able to do the calculation quickly. 29% of Lamar's completions tonight were touchdowns. No gaudy numbers on the receiving end, and everyone's just going to have to deal with that. Because if Lamar with 2 MVPs can say, hey, I'm throwing the ball 22 times tonight, and that's all I want, then the entire team can sacrifice. As Mark continues to get more looks again, don't worry. I'm sure that Isaiah likely breakout game, similar to Week 1 against the Chiefs, will be coming again. This team simply has too many weapons. You have to pick and choose as a defense. You cannot stop this entire offense. That is why I was so upset in the beginning of the year that we looked so bad, because we simply have too many good, talented threats on offense to look as putrid as we did. What else is there to say? I mean, I already talked about Derrick Henry to start. The numbers at this point in his career are comical. 169 on 15 carries. And Harbaugh loved to only have to give him 15 carries tonight. Obviously, at his age, getting 25 carries a week probably isn't going to be sustainable through January. So in a game like this, again, happy to get that win on the road. Another dominating Ravens crowd down in the South, per usual, by the way. So shout out to all the Ravens fans that traveled down to Florida / live in Florida. I know there's a lot of them. But yeah, I mean, this was a perfect game on offense for the Ravens. This, as a Ravens fan, this is the type of offense you want. Defensively, we were flying all over the ball. We looked great. Kyle Hamilton looks healthy. I feel like Zach Orr's starting to get more comfortable with how many corners we're playing with, how many safeties we're playing with. We're pretty much locked into just a 2 linebacker system, which is fine with me, Roquan and Simpson. And then we just throw a bunch of pass rushers out there, and we had to have the most big boys defensive tackles in the league. I mean, we got like 6 of them. I don't even know if other teams carry that many. But hey, that's Ravens football, and we live by it. We die by it. This is a really enjoyable game to watch. And is it Cleveland next week? Yes, we're at Cleveland, so our second division game of the year. I love starting the division games with 2 road games. Obviously, that means we close out with 4 division road games. 4 division home games after that, going down the stretch. Let me say this. Obviously, AFC North football is known for close games no matter the records. Cleveland is terrible. I don't care if it's Winston starting. I don't care if it's DTR. This needs to be a bloodbath. I don't want to let them hang around with that defense. Next thing you know, it's 17-12 in the fourth quarter and something screwy happens and our secondary starts getting fried again. No. This game needs to be over quick. I'm talking like 31-10, 31-9. It's got to be that type of game next week. If this is a close one, I'm not going to be the happiest guy. But at the end of the day, it is still a division game on the road. But before I go into the rest of the league real quick, just to put a nice pretty bow here on Monday Night Football. As I was watching, I could not help myself. It is straight comedy that ESPN is so broke that they're firing well-known, established people pretty much every week just to try to keep the lights on. Yet they're paying Joe Buck and Troy Aikman $31 million a year to work 16 days. Keep getting those business degrees, folks. There's going to be jobs out there because there are some truly stupid people making decisions at these media companies. And to add insult to injury, they publicly they want you to watch the Manning cast. So like they're not even putting all their eyeballs on the product that they're dropping $31 million a year on. And they have another Monday night game running simultaneously on ESPN Plus. These people are stupid. Like Gucci Mane would say, stupid. STOOPID. Whew. Okay, I'm not going to do a standard out-of-town report this week. I'm just going to say I think the three best teams in football are obviously the Chiefs, and they are on a tier by themselves. They would have to lose multiple games to bad teams for me to even put them on a list with other teams. I don't care what you guys say about the refs, schedule, scores. Couldn't care less. They're going for the three-peat. They're better than they were last year. They're on a tier of their own. I think the Lions and Ravens are on that next level. And to me, those are the three best teams in football. Obviously, there's some others that weren't being said. I don't think it's hard for me to say the Steelers are the fourth best team in football with that offense, but hey, look, they have the same record as us, and I'm still would not be surprised if they beat us like 13-12 or something like that. So obviously the Steelers are there. With what we did to the Bills, I can't really consider them to be on that same level. In the NFC, that's what I forgot to say. I believe Lamar is now 25-1 against the NFC. It's either 24, 25, or 26. There's so many wins, it's hard to keep up. I know. First world fan problems. And, of course, the only loss was on my wedding day against the New York Giants. That's just how it goes. But, yeah, Detroit gave Minnesota that first L, but I think Minnesota is still a team to be reckoned with. Green Bay is playing well. 49ers, I know, are pretty banged up, and they just got even more banged up. I think Brandon Ayuk might be out for the year. Did I see that correctly? So wide receivers are starting to drop. I'll also shout out the Washington football team. They had a nice bounce-back performance after, they went into that game against us with a lot of hype, and also we had to hand them that L, but it was impressive for them to bounce back the way they did. So I'll still throw them out there as a good team, as well as the Houston Texans. Could have been a sophomore slump for C.J. Stroud, but instead they are living up to the hype as well. There's a lot of mediocre, mid, and straight bad football in the NFL. I feel like it's been like this for a couple of years, and there's just not that many good teams. I think that's really all of them. I like Seattle. 4-3 is not the gaudiest record, but I feel like they play well and get good wins still. So, shortest video of the year. I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank you guys, as always, for joining me. If you want more Ravens reactions for the rest of the season, I'll always talk about our opponent as well. Like and subscribe to my channel to follow me, and then like the video. Help me with my algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys, as always, for joining me. I hope you guys have an awesome and blessed week. Shorter week than usual. with me talking to you guys. It's already almost Tuesday morning. But I will see you guys hopefully after the Cleveland game. Hopefully after a dominating win. See you guys next time. Thanks.